to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This one's wife, someone, has hijacked American Riviera Orchard again. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. It is the case that many narcissists will copy other people. This is because the narcissist, having no sense of self, an absence of boundary recognition, a sense of entitlement, and an absence of emotional empathy, sees absolutely nothing wrong in acquiring those character traits of somebody else and passing them off as their own, which includes, in effect, stealing other people's ideas. Invariably, the unaware narcissist doesn't realize that's what they are doing. They simply see it as a modification, an upgrading, a redo of what exists, and they regard it as their own creation because the narcissism causes them to believe that is what they are doing. The fact is that, as we have seen repeatedly with this one's wife, she is incapable of an original thought and regularly utilizes things that have been said or done by other people and makes it seem like she's the one that has come up with it. Whether this was the 40 by 40 event, which never went anywhere, which she had basically taken from Barack Obama, or where she has utilized quotes from other people and passed them off as her own thinking, we've seen her do it time and time again. It also goes so far as for her to explain that she's done something which is undertaken by millions of people around the globe, and she makes it seem as if she's the only person who has ever done it in the history of ever. The way that she proclaims certain things that she has done to make it sound like she's a pioneer in that regard. She lacks creativity, she has no originality, and because of her narcissism, it deems that it is entirely appropriate to take from other people. Of course, demonstrating the usual hypocrisy that we've come to know in relation to this one's wife, you're not allowed to do it to her. Should you take something from the narcissist, then you offend the narcissist's subconscious need for control. This makes you an awful and treacherous person. You may well find yourself being hoovered by the narcissist who expresses their outrage at what you've done. Typically, you'll find yourself on the receiving end of legal proceedings, whether merited or not. You will recall that when American Riviera Orchard Retirement Homes was launched back in March, we were treated to the crap Instagram post, the pointless video, and then a site which simply wanted your email address. Since then, other than the ridiculousness of the scam jam, nothing else has happened. Around the time of the launch, some enterprising soul decided that they would utilize American Riviera Orchard.uk, where if you went to the site, you were invited to donate to the Trussell Trust Food Bank charity. And that site remains live today. And many thousands of pounds have been generated as a consequence of people wanting to help and, in a sense, sticking two fingers up at this one's wife. There was also an American Riviera Orchard site linked to Shopify, which I've covered previously. This site had a number of items for sale and therefore had a considerable march on what this one's wife was doing, since in the last nearly 3 months there's been nothing that you can buy from American Riviera Orchard because it's not ready yet. Another typical failure of this one's wife, and I have explained elsewhere why that is. However, in a rather entertaining twist, The Independent reports that this hijacking of American Riviera Orchard has actually proven successful for those individuals, whoever they are, because apparently this one's wife's American Riviera Orchard lifestyle brand name used to sell adult colouring books. Now, at first you might be thinking, adult colouring books? Oh, are they a bit spicy? Oh no, they're not pictures of Hank and Skank doing the nasty, are they? Ooh, I don't think I'd want to colour that in. They're not black and white images of this one's wife and Harry playing hide the sausage or pounding the punani pavement. Goodness, I'll bring up my breakfast. No, it would appear that their adult theme is in relation to them being more detailed, that they contain almost like a landscape that you colour in rather than something simple that a child would ordinarily colour in. The Independent reports this one's wife's new lifestyle brand name, American Riviera Orchard, is being used to sell adult colouring books via an unknown online seller. A Shopify page that uses the Duchess of Sussex's brand name is selling adult colouring books, including one labelled Working Class Royalty, for between £8 and £16, depending on size. While the Working Class Royalty colouring book is currently sold out, two financial planners are still available, priced at £8 and £16 respectively. As American Riviera Orchard is yet to be launched on its official domain or Instagram, the Shopify page appears to have no connection with the brand. The website's blog states that royal titles have no significance and claims that the Royal Wealth Reign line was established to recognise and celebrate the working class over the true heart of our economy. In America, we do not recognise a royal title by someone's name. It read, in America, we believe all are created equal. Well, hilariously, this site, of course, is cocking a snook at this one's wife with working class royalty. And how about this? A site that has hijacked her brand has sold out of one of its products, whereas this one's wife has yet to sell anything. Ooh, that must sting. Naturally, this one's wife will not be best pleased at all about this development. It will wound her, threatening her need for control, and will result in an ignition of fury. She will want this shut down. She will feel humiliated, not only by the fact that they've actually sold out of a product and she's sold nothing, but of course the challenge fuel that's provided in relation to the comments about working class royalty. The fact is, it highlights the laziness and incompetence of this one's wife, and the fact that somebody else is able to get a site up and running and sell stuff. Now the question remains, who has been buying these colouring in books? Well, our investigative journalist Ophelia Balls first thought that it could well be the Prince of Pink Pancakes himself. After all, we know that he's a big fan of the crayons and felt tips, and he loves nothing more than rolling a fat blunt and sitting there and doing some colouring in. But there are two potential problems with that theory. The first, his crayons were recently melted in a horrendous attack by this one's wife in order to devalue him. And secondly, the pictures in the adult colouring book seem to be rather complex and would be beyond the Prince of Pink Pancakes. And therefore, whilst you might think that he would be moved to purchase lots of these colouring books, perhaps confused, thinking that Megsy was selling them, where in actual fact, I think it's far more likely, and Ophelia Balls confirms that her investigative journalism supports this, that it's actually being done by people who don't like this one's wife. In the same way that people went and flocked to purchasing jam from Highgrove, similarly they've thought, let's stick two fingers up at this one's wife and buy one of the colouring books from this spoof site. And thus, they have done so. It demonstrates again, of course, the unpopularity of this one's wife, that people are content to go and buy from competitors because they really don't like her. Once again, the hijacking of this site is problematic for this one's wife. It highlights her ineptitude with regard to the launch of American Riviera Orchard, and once again emphasises just how unpopular she is. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.